everyone. Welcome to another conversation with me in the series called Inner Peace and Security. This is where we talk about inner peace and security, how we attain it, how we get our vibration to connect with it, how we have it as part of our life consistently, and how to deal with the ups and the downs of life while trying to maintain or get in touch with the sense of having inner peace and security. In this conversation, we talk about enlightenment. How does enlightenment relate to having inner peace and security? So when I come across something like this where we're having a discussion or with anyone, I like to ask myself, what is it that am I being asked? How do I define what I'm being asked? So since we're talking about enlightenment, right, I would say, what does enlightenment mean to me? What have I experienced in my life where I would say I am enlightened? Where I would say, you know what, I can understand how this has applied in my life or how this has manifested in my life, being enlightened and whatnot. So that is the question I encourage you to ask yourself. What does enlightenment mean for you? How has it come into your life, and how has it been part of your life in the past, or in any situation where you feel like you've had a light bulb moment, where you feel like the rug has been pulled from under you, where you feel like you had such a brand new information that it gave you a sense of clarity, or it even put you in a space where you felt uncomfortable, but you knew that being uncomfortable meant that there was something bigger. It wasn't like uncomfortable out of fear, but uncomfortable because you weren't sure what was going on, but you were well aware that through your intuitive work, through your ability to critically think and commence from a place, or start from a place of unconditional love, that this rug being pulled from under you was something that was going to be helpful to you in your process and your growth. So what I tell people too is, like, if you don't know what enlightenment means for you, or if you are in a space where you're not quite sure how to define it, look it up in the dictionary. Find out what the dictionary definition is and go from there and see how it can apply or has applied in your life. So when we talk about enlightenment, I think it's important to know that there is a requirement, or there is a point, or there is an experience where you have to stand still, or where you are standing still, or where you are, in a way stagnant. And when we talk about being stagnant, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. You can choose not to do something. You can choose to be stagnant. You can choose to be comfortable, to be content, to not be moving all the time. You know, you can choose to be in a state of order that is consistently keeping you in a space of not doing anything, in a space of knowing your routine, understanding your routine, and that's okay. But what standing or stand still means is taking a moment to listen, taking a moment to feel what's going on around you and in your environment. What are you hearing? What are you touching? What are you feeling? What is your intuition telling you? What is the information that you're getting conveying to you? Is it something that you trust? Is there facts? Is there is the facts not something that's relevant at this time? Because I think it's Nietzsche that says that there's no such thing as facts, just opinions, or what one has, or what a group has decided to be fact. So in a way that is true, right? Until facts change, until someone comes to change a current fact, it's fact until it's changed. It's fact until it's challenged. So standing still means giving yourself the ability to challenge a situation, or to challenge what you know to be true. And that's one of the things that enlightenment does. It gives you a shock to question what you believe to be true, to question what you believe has been the guiding source for your life. A lot of people right now are going through a process of enlightenment in different areas, of themselves, of their country, their government, their life, their job, like what it means to work for a company, what it means to travel for work, what it means to work from home, what it means to school your children, what it means to get your food, your supplies, the things that you depend on. You know, a lot of people had a really rude awakening to how quickly things can change. The things that they take for granted can change in their lives, and having to readjust to that. And that took a moment of standing still to find out what that meant for them. And I think a lot of people were not given that opportunity because there was a lot of information constantly changing about the current situations, or depending on when you listen to this video, what I'm talking about could be irrelevant. But if to make it relevant, there in any time where your construct is questioned, or where you have to reassess your situation, that is a moment of enlightenment, where new information comes into your foresight, comes from the subconscious into the conscious mind, and you have to deal with it, you have to assess it. And that takes standing still, that takes not doing anything, that takes thinking, that takes you being able to critically assess the situation. And sometimes that's why standing still is good. That's why being stagnant is good, because you are allowing yourself time to process the information, and you're not rushing into anything. You're not doing anything because you feel like you need to do something, but rather you do something because you know this is the right thing to do. And when I say the right thing to do, this is the thing to do for yourself, and it helps you to grow, it helps to give you value, and it helps you to be the version of yourself that you want to be. And what that does, it improves our ability to access wisdom. And that is really very important, because as we disconnect from our parents, our grandparents, because remember that there is a time where families of different generations live together, where you had the father's parents or the mother's parents, but you had some kind of grandparent energy there. And a lot of that grandparent energy was the energy that provided wisdom, because it gave you information that you did not have access to, information from your grandparents' perspective, in a time where you were not there, or in a time, if we're talking about like esoteric things, in a time that you haven't been able to remember, depending on your belief system about all these things. But let's leave it in an exoteric, open, kind of mundane life situation, right? Where your grandparents are the ones who teach you about the past. They're the ones who convey information from from their lineage to you as a brand new specimen or a brand new soul having this experience. And through their knowledge, you learn. Through their knowledge, you start to create a foundation from yourself. Once you get to a space where you've reached that that energy where you are ready to set that foundation, where you are ready to define who you are. As children, our parents kind of define who we are, and as we get older, we break out of that pattern, we break out of that definition that our parents have set for us, and we start to define our own lives and the journey that we want to take in this world. So the grandparents are the ones that help to give that wisdom from grandparent, father or mother to child. And so as we separate from that generational community of having your grandparents live with you, because more grandparents are being sent to homes, more grandparents are able to live on their own or assisted living. They're no longer under the roof because parents are working and unable to take care of them. So, and some grandparents need full-time care. Some grandparents are suffering from ailments that don't allow them to connect with their memories, and so they can't share that information. So that is sometimes where we lose the wisdom. And the wisdom is also in written words. Sometimes the wisdom is for people in the Bible. Sometimes the wisdom is in the historical books. But if I don't know who said this. I can't remember who said it. Gore Vidal, I think it is. History would only be something about history would only be true. History would only be helpful, or if it were true, or something in that realm. Research it and see if this aligns with you. Take a look, Google it and take a look at it. But I think what he's saying is that history is written by someone from a different perspective and than yours. And when you have the human perspective in that, there is room for error. There is room to have bias. And so, when we're looking at historical perspectives, we have to account for the fact that there could be bias in the history that we're reading. And that's why it's information. That's why that information is good to have. It's possible to cross-check it with someone who's lived through the times. And then they'll still be giving you perspective, but at least they'll be able to collaborate or I can't think of the word, or verify what you're reading could be true. But in general, we take the sense that history as written is what is correct. But just remember that there are some biases. There is information, so you have to do your research, you have to look into things, you have to question, and that is another part of being enlightened. It's questioning, it's asking those questions, it's wanting to put the time or needing to put the time to do the research, to check out and verify information that's being given to you. Because when you're going through a process of being enlightened, you're going to tap into a lot of different energies, a lot of different perspectives. There's a lot of people that's going to tell you, this is what enlightenment means, this is what X means, this is what Y means. Just remember that this is coming from their perspective, and so you have to understand what it means for you, and you have to take the time to do it. Because sometimes we take the lazy road, and by lazy I'm not trying to use a derogatory term or making anybody feel bad. What I'm saying is we like the easy button. We like to push the easy button, get the information and say boom. And I do it too. Like, there are plenty of times where, as far as politics goes, I'm not into politics that much. I don't research things. I don't research policy and procedure. I don't research all these things, but I will connect with someone and I will study that person. I will listen to them. Mostly, sometimes I will buy their books, but most of the time with YouTube and all these things, all these channels, I'll listen to them for a while. And if my energy, or if what they're saying to me puts a light bulb in my head, gives me an opportunity to think, to question, to reassess, then if I then connect with that energy and say, yeah, I align with what this person's saying, then I depend on them for information with regards to what's going to be impressed upon me about my political beliefs. But the hard way would be for me to do my own research. The hard way would be for me to read the books, open up the books, cross-reference, check everything. But most of us don't have that time, so we depend on others to help enlighten us. But what I'm saying to you in that process of connecting with people that will help you to enlighten, just remember that you have to stand still, in the sense that you have to think about the information you're getting. You have to question it. You have to ask, is this information valid? Is this information verifiable? Can I take this, or am I in the place where I can take this on faith and say, you know what, I believe in my heart and soul that this is right, and I'm okay with that level of trust. I'm okay with this level of wisdom. And as you have your own experiences, your wisdom reservoir will grow, and usually it's as you get older. You know, when you're a child, you don't have a lot of information to kind of check in or cross check. So you look for the wisdom of others to help you grow, to help you build your foundation, to help you understand who you're trying to become. But as you gain more experience, you tap into wisdom. And for some of us, if you are extremely spiritual, if you are extremely whatever, you may tap into that much earlier than all of us, right? Because we're all on a slightly different trajectory when it comes to our enlightenment, when it comes to our evolution as spiritual beings having this experience right now. So on a mundane level, enlightenment can be about having new information from your newspaper, from your media, from people who are in your community and your network. And it is about you taking time to assess that information, to see if that information makes sense, if it is valid, because, you know, as we're learning the world that we're living in, there are a lot of things that influence people's opinions, money being one of them, power being one of them. So it starts to change how we get our information, and if our information is as valid, or is there a level of biases in the information that's being given to us because the person's being influenced by either power or money. So those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves, and in the process of being enlightened to new information, to new ways of doing things. And it doesn't even have to be like, information from the media, but even within like your own community, there's going to be information that comes out about your family members, your community, and you have to like process that information, and you have to find out if it's wisdom or if it's just, a nonsense, because nonsense can be wrapped up into a good slogan, and it can be wrapped up into something that sounds really wise, but when you look at its validity in the sense of its ability to stand the test of time, it breaks down very fast. And that's why the truth really matters in a lot of situations. And I've heard some people say, and if you've been watching me for a while, this is not the first time I've used this example, where, if you're coming from a very critical intellectual perspective, you might believe that, when we say speak your truth, and I'm always like trying to defend that, or I find myself defending that perspective, because from an intellectual perspective, right, people would say, in trying to prove something, I'm speaking my truth right now, and the person comes back to you and says, there's no such thing as your truth, there's only facts. And as we've established before, facts can be biased, can have bias to them. Facts, the philosopher Nietzsche says, this is not a direct quote, but this is, me remembering and regurgitating the information. There is no facts, it's just opinions. So depending on who's standing in front of you, their belief structure is going to be different. But let's be honest, there are some facts that we've proven. There are some truths that we've proven based on our understanding of what's going on when it comes to science and mathematics and all these things. So there are some things that we can say is true, but at the same time, eventually some of those facts are going to get trampled over and replaced with new facts, because we have a new understanding. We've traveled to a different level of enlightenment. We've gone to a different level of enlightenment. So then the truth changes, the facts adapt, and the facts change. So what does truth mean to you? Is truth rooted in something that everlasting, because some people say, I don't know, I was reading some quotes, and there was a quote in there saying, there is no such thing as truth. Everything is basically a lie. And it's like, and I guess if you're coming from, if like you're understanding Nietzsche's perspective that there are no facts, just opinions, there are no truths, everything is a lie. I guess you can think of it like, if I am writing something, right, and my truth, like if I'm a scientist and I've discovered uranium, right, and I write down, like, this is a new element, but then you discover that there are isotopes. Is the fact, like the fact that uranium was discovered is true, but now you have another fact that there are isotopes. So is uranium always uranium, or is it changing based on the evolution in the time period of its decay process, right? So I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but we're talking about, I guess what I'm trying to say is that something can be true here, but as time changes, as our perspective becomes more enlightened, the truth may decay into something else, or the facts may decay into something else. So everything is in the process, every truth is in the process of becoming a lie, I guess. So you either align with that or you don't, which is fine. Leave me comments, let me know what you think about that from a philosophical perspective. Meditate on it if it interests you. Me, I'm always thinking about things like that. I'm always pondering about life, the meaning of life. It's something that interests me. Some people don't care. Some people are like, whatevs. I'm living my life, I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's really all that matters to me. I live one day at a time. Yeah, I try to stay present, but I also, think about the future. I'm also in my head a lot, if using my imagination and thinking about what possibilities lie ahead of me. And, it's a good exercise, I think, for me, but that's my process. Your process could be something else. I also do it through art when I, used to paint a lot. Now I don't do it as much, but as I get back into it, hopefully I'll start to make those connections again. So is your truth rooted in something really profound, really stable, really rigid, or are you open to intervening, or are you open to other truths that come to your vicinity? And by other truths, it's perspectives, right? It's someone's vision versus someone who looks straight across, or someone who has peripheral vision. So I guess that's the way you can describe the different truths. And when somebody says I'm speaking my truth, it's an understanding that they're speaking from their experiences and their perspectives, and it's not necessarily fact. But if you can get a group of people who are aligned with that experience, maybe it can be proven to be facts. So those are the things. And so I guess when everything is happening, are you able to adjust your definition of what things are? And when you're able to do that, you can gain some profound knowledge by being flexible, by being open. But again, it's important to be rooted in something that has a foundation, that has a level of wisdom, because then you won't be sucked into somebody else's truth, somebody else's potential lie to you. You are able to decipher, for the most part, what is true, what isn't, and you're able to take time to stand still and look into it and verify the information that you're getting. Because once you have that, that's when you're able to take action towards consistently, or towards having an inner peace and security in your life, being able to change your actions, to take new actions, to open up to different truths, to allow new information to come into your vicinity, but not so much so that you lose yourself in that information and you become part of somebody else's story rather than having your own journey, which is really easy to do in this age of technology. Like, let's say, somebody wants to research something and they get bombarded on YouTube, bombarded on the internet about what all these things mean. It's easy to get confused. But also, what you will attract is the mindset that you're in. So if you're in a mindset victim, you're going to attract like the type of videos where the victim card or the victim vibration is played out. If you are not in that mindset, let's say you're in a mindset that I own myself, I make my decisions, you're going to attract the kind of information where where you're encouraged to step out of your comfort zone, where you're encouraged to own your life, to be responsible and take actions that are in your control for the most part, for you to be able to continue to gain enlightenment, continue to know that you have, at least within your own bubble, like because you can't control your environment, you can only control you, that you are able to maintain a level of inner peace and security no matter what's happening around you. And that is like true wisdom, in my opinion, and that is a really high level of being enlightened about the information that you currently have coming to you, or I would currently have coming to me. So let's bring this full circle. In this conversation regarding inner peace and security, the topic, how it relates to enlightenment, is what we're conversing over. And enlightenment is something that you have to understand what it means to you. You have to understand what level you are in with regards to the amount of information you're willing to come into your space. And it's important to know that you need time to process the information, so to stand still, to allow yourself the proper time lapse before you start making this part of you and weaving it into your DNA, this process of thinking, this idea or ideas that come into your vicinity, into your mindset, into your thought patterns, the story that you tell yourself. So be weary of that, or be aware of what stories you're telling yourself, what you're allowing to be part of your enlightenment and growth. And as you do this, you gain more wisdom, and through that wisdom you see more truths. And when you start to see more truths, you're able to take actions that continue to help you enlighten, and that continue to give you moments to tap into inner wisdom and, inner peace and security. All right. I hope this information was helpful to you. I hope that you found some value in this. And if you did, I would love for you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the information, and turn on your notification so that YouTube or the algorithm will share this information with others, and I can grow, the information can grow, and you can help me or be a part of me being more enlightened and growing my dream, right? So thank you so much for that. And also, it's the cheapest way to help me. If let's say you like my work, but you're like, you go on my website, you check out my prices, and you're like, I'm not ready to pay that. This is one of the ways that you can give back to me as I'm giving to you with this information I hope is of value to you, is by helping the channel grow. So thank you so much for taking the time to do that. Also, at the end of the video, I will post pictures of the earrings that I'm wearing, which is my jewelry that I make, the rings, but I probably won't post all of them right now. But that, if you are interested in that, you can go to my website, check it out, check out some of the other pieces I have, because I don't know if I'll post everything that I have on my website, because depending on if it matches with my outfit, right? So I'm wearing a lot of green in this series, so the jewelry will have to align with the greenness that I'm with the love that I'm putting out there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the series. I hope you're enjoying the conversations that we're having. Comment, let me know what you think. Let me know if this information is helpful. If you've had time to ponder it and you've had some thoughts on it, share it with me. I'd love to discuss it with you. If you don't want to comment, connect with me on my website and we can have a conversation there. Or if you want to bring it up, step it up another level, then definitely book a session with me and we can have a conversation and see how I can help you to further enlighten yourself in your process of discovering who you are, what you want to do with regards to your own self-development, your career, and your relationships. All right? I will talk to you again. I love you. Take care of yourself.